KCRA3's Leanne Denyer spoke exclusively with the driver about what happened and how grateful he is to have been alone in the car without his children inside.
As Bishal Malla stood alongside firefighters, he was at a loss for words.
I don't know. I'm just speechless at the moment.
His Tesla, a skeleton of what it had been just hours before.
It's just like all gone. And I'm just so lucky to be alive at the moment. And I'm so glad that my family was not there.
He says he was on his way home. He'd been out running errands when the car started shaking.
I pull over to check and see if I have a flat tire or something. And the moment I opened the door, I saw smoke coming from the bottom.
The smoke, he says, quickly turned into large flames. He recorded them on his cell phone as fire crews let the car burn.
It's really difficult for firefighters to stand around and watch, whereas right now a lot of the research and studies say the best thing you can do is just let it burn. The issue with the electric vehicles is access to the batteries. The batteries are what are causing the enormous amount of heat buildup.
The car is about to be towed away. The battalion chief says, though, that once it's gone, someone will have to keep watching it. They have to make sure that those batteries don't reignite.
And even after it's towed to wherever tow yard it's going to, a lot of times the tow yards will submerge the vehicle in water to keep those batteries from flaring back up several hours later and causing another fire.
While Malla found his license plate burnt, his eyes kept going back to something else inside his vehicle, adding to the relief he was alone in the car at the time of the fire.
If you notice, there are 2 baby seats still over there. I have a 1-year-old and 3-year-old.
In Sacramento.
And thought this would be safer for me.
Leanne Denyer, KCRA 3 News.
Nightmare for a local family. They say an electric car sparked this fire that destroyed their home. And it wasn't even their car. It was a loaner. The homeowner told us they had the loaner while their personal car was being serviced. This happened in Nocatee in St. Johns County.
Let's take a look at the video again. Look at what's left behind. Almost nothing left of the car itself. The seats burned to ash. It was in the garage when it caught fire yesterday morning. It was about 8:30. The homeowner says her home is a total loss. News4JAX consumer investigative reporter Tiffany Salome joining us live outside that home in St. Johns County after speaking with the owners.
It's a pretty devastating scene here in this Nocatee neighborhood. You can see the car is still sitting in the driveway here, and their home is damaged beyond repair. They say they might have to rebuild this. And the homeowner says she wishes she never brought this car home.
It was parked in the garage about 22 hours, and then it caught fire.
Jennifer Rotolo is busy packing up her life after bringing home a 2023 Mercedes-Benz EQ E350 Plus.
I was at work about 8:30 and my husband heard a hiss and a pop, and he went into the garage full of smoke, opened the door, and it engulfed in flames and exploded.
The car was a loaner while Jennifer's personal Mercedes was getting serviced. She says the car wasn't even charging when it went up in flames.
It engulfed the entire garage and then went, as you can see, through the attic to the second floor, and we believe the house is a teardown.
Mercedes has issued a recall for 2023 EQ E350 models because the cars might not alert drivers to battery malfunctions. The St. Johns County Fire Marshal is still investigating the exact cause of this fire, but he's urging electric car owners be aware of the potential risks associated with lithium-ion batteries.
As a loaner vehicle, we expected it would function and be safe. I could be biased. I don't think they're ready for market. This is a Mercedes brand. Can't speak for all of them, but I would not recommend buying one anytime soon.
Jennifer is questioning the safety of EVs after this experience. Her home of 5 years is soot-filled, and she spent much of the morning evaluating what personal belongings are worth saving. So what's next for you guys?
We don't even know. Probably rebuild it, probably rent for a couple years until we can settle it.
She says the damages to her home are well over $1 million. But what's most important is that her family is safe.
I feel blessed that my husband is alive. He was right on the next side of the wall. He should be dead, and he's alive, and our puppy is alive. And so I'm thankful for that. This could have been devastating and life-changing, and at this point, it is just a challenge.
I have reached out to Mercedes-Benz corporate headquarters for comment on this story, and I'm still waiting for a response.
Let's talk about electric vehicles, because for the first time, someone thought to test if they are safe on the road, and they found out they're not. This is crazy.
Way to get started.
They figured out that electric vehicles may not stop at these guardrail barriers. Now, I'm wondering, why are we just finding this out now? Researchers say this was a first of its kind crash test, and that gives me pause because they've been on the road for over a decade or two. Why did no one think to ask, oh, how do they handle guardrails on the actual road? Like, who greenlit them then if this is the first of the kind? So here is what is better late than never. The University of Nebraska and the U.S. Army conducted tests, quote, to better understand whether currently used guardrails and U.S. military protection, measures against hostile vehicles, are prepared for the growing number of EVs. So what they're trying to do is see how EVs handle guardrails, because thousands of people die each year from more than 100,000 runoff crashes. So, the military might put up the guardrails, or the National Highway Association. They want you to stop if you get out of control. If you hit an ice patch or you get into some kind of game of chicken, you run off the road, you're supposed to hit those guardrails and stop, not go over a cliff or go over a bridge. Well, watch this 7,000 plus pound 2022 Rivian R1T electric truck hit a barrier at 60 miles per hour, and you decide if the guardrails stop them or not. Okay.
It's a resounding no. Look at all that.
Nope, that was not a success. Guardrail fail.
Because I was just about to say, they're going right straight through it. So what's going to stop something going right straight through it? But then you had that one that went sideways, right?
This is sensationalization. It does eventually stop.
It does eventually stop. Yeah. Now imagine Thelma and Louise. There's no triple barrier there of cement right there. They're going all the way down that cliff.
Right. It eventually stops because there's more road. Imagine there's a cliff on the other side or a bridge.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are we given any of the data to know?
Yeah, I know.
To know if they shut off any features, if it was fully all the automation and autonomy was on at that time. Like, do we get any of that data?
I don't know, but who cares about that? Not like shooting you down, but that doesn't change the weight at all, right? It doesn't change the weight of these things, right? I mean,
but it's like, but my car specifically, my car has a self-driving mode, and if I go anywhere, like if I kind of veer off to the right, it pulls me back onto the road. If there's a guardrail, if there's anything like that. So I'm saying there's sensors on the side of those cars. So were those off? Were those on?
Well, they would have to, because you're deliberately driving these for the test purposes. Right.
Right.
So they used a standard barrier mode made of steel and anchored with 8 to 12 inch blockouts. They say that this was tested to great success with gas-powered cars, but never with EVs. And I'm just thinking, why? Why has this never been tested? Take a look here what they say. They say this MSG has been tested with small cars weighing up to 2,400 pounds and pickups that weigh 5,000 pounds. We're talking here, what we just watched was a 7,000 pound car. So up until now, little has been known about how the system will perform in crashes involving EVs, which typically weigh 20 to 50% more with lower centers of gravity. And again, I'm just worried that it's the year 2024 and no one's thought to look into this yet.
Yeah,
so how will they solve this problem? Well, they say we need to improve the barriers throughout the whole country, throughout the whole U.S. It's going to be necessary to re-examine the design of roadside barriers, even beyond EVs. It's critical and timely. Go ahead.
I guess that's the point I'm trying to make, is that I think they've already solved it with all the automations that are in those vehicles. That's why I was wondering how many of the tests of deaths have been electric cars, because if there are not any, and there may be some, but if there aren't any, then those safety features are already in place by the autonomy that's in those vehicles to stop automatically, to avoid barriers, to avoid the edge of the road and things like that.
But you can't if you're hydroplaning or if you're on ice, or if someone has pushed you,
you get hit by another car, if another car hits you and spins you off.
We're talking about extreme situations. You can't stop on ice. So, the point is that these are supposed to stop you in in different in extreme circumstances is what I'm pointing out.
Basically, you're not supposed to be hitting them, and so if you are, something has gone wrong.
Yes,
and therefore they should stop you. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And you're not supposed to fly up in the air. You know, you have to think about, you have your family in there. And so these are designed to stop cars. Do they stop electric vehicles? Maybe they don't, and no one thought to test.
把这人咋的了？哎呀，这还有拉杆箱吗？不行了，我给他半天才开门。知道的。
This all-electric school bus cost nearly $400,000 to build. It's an American icon, with a twist, which means more of this, and less of this.
Now I can have kids completely walk all the way around the bus and not get coughed on, as we say, by our buses.
For more than a century, America's kids have traveled to and from school in polluting yellow buses. The fumes from these diesel buses are linked to serious health and environmental problems, and opponents want them gone. 1,000 electric school buses on the roads of Virginia by 2025.